Yo, guys, this is Kyle coming at you from Bane's Film Reviews. Today, I am sitting down with the writer, director, and producer, Zach Koepp of the Willowbrook, and the stars of Willowbrook, Jessica Bishop and Christian Olivo. Uh, this is my first one with three people, so this is interesting. This is kind of exciting. The Willowbrook, for guys that don't know, it's a fantastic film. It's explores addiction and mental struggle and horror and all these amazing things, and it works so well, and it's crazy, and I absolutely loved it. So
your response to it, man. We really appreciated that.
of course, of course. And then so before we even get into the movie, I'm just curious how each one of you guys got into filmmaking in the first place.
Sure. Jess, you want to start?
Sure. My earliest memories as a child was wanting to be an actor and a storyteller and a creative. And I've been telling people since I remember, since walking, that I was going to grow up and be an actor and be creative. So as cheesy as it might sound, I'm fulfilling a childhood dream to get to be creative and live this life. So it's just always what I've wanted to do.
Very, very cool.
What about you, Christian?
Well, me, kind of been a roundabout journey for me, and didn't always want to be an actor. First, I wanted to be a paleontologist because I like the movie Jurassic Park. And then I wanted to be a fighter pilot because of Tom Cruise and Top Gun. And then I wanted to be a pole vaulter. Wasn't a movie for that one. And then I went to college for a scholarship, and then I joined a fraternity, maybe because I saw a movie Van Wilder, and went to Arizona State and just kind of had time of my life and realized that I was just kind of wasting away and not doing anything with my life. And my cousin moved out here to LA to become an agent, and she wanted to work into the film industry, and I would visit Hollywood. And finally I just kind of like, it just dawned on me that I was like, man, you know what? Like maybe I could be an actor, because my whole life I just loved movies. I just wanted to be all these people in the movies. So yeah, rest is history.
There you go. And Zach?
Yeah, for me, it was something that I was lucky enough, I guess, to not know life without. My earliest memories were trying to recreate like The Lion King when I was like hardly able to walk, recreating movies, writing my own stories, trying to film, trying to make commercials when I was I remember like after I saw like Jerry Maguire when I was, 5 or 6 years old or something like that, like wearing a suit for like an entire week, trying to film this idea of a Snickers commercial that I had of my hamster was running on its wheel. And I thought it was the most brilliant thing ever to, voiceover, not going anywhere for a while, then was able to cut to a Snickers bar, grab a Snickers. And it certainly was not a stroke of genius like I thought, but it was indicative of my passions and life. And yeah, that always stuck too. So I've been writing forever. And I guess I'd say I got into the Writers Guild. I earned my way into that a few years ago. So I was a professional writer before taking the director's seat.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And then how did this idea for the Willowbrook come to be, and how did the movie come to be?
Totally. So it was actually super bizarre. And that's where these two are so special to me. I was back home in Iowa. It was January of, would it be last year?
Yeah, the beginning of 2021.
Yeah, so it was then, and I was back home for a writing job. It was all snowy. We have like a little cabin. It's a good creative place for me to escape to, and it's during COVID, and of course, my small Iowa town is pretty shut down. And I went past this bed and breakfast that I've known of obviously my whole life, and I know the owners, so I saw them out there, and I pulled in and talked to them. And by the time I left, because they were so empty in February, they're like, well, really the only clear block is in February, basically the first half of February. And I got in my truck after pulling in there, and I had paid for a location, and I was like, no matter what, and a little, a month and a week from now, basically, I'm shooting something. And I've been wanting to tell this story. I didn't have anything specific outside of more just like the theme of the abuse of power when one stops thinking for themselves and turns the keys over. We see that a lot in the health and wellness influencer, let's say, space. And
Yeah.
I had someone dear in my life who was a life coach, and although they were one of the good ones, I couldn't help but start to kind of, I guess, keep an eye open in that field, just see sort of how they were making their living, and then doing so, saw a lot of things that scared me as a person in terms of when we combine social media with the element of wanting to go get, I guess, make yourself genuinely better as a human or healthier, let's say. We turn to social media where we have this curated image of how we want to look, and then it's very convincing. And when you have a convincing outlet and page and you're offering life advice, it's a scary, easy target if you're someone who doesn't at least think for themselves a little bit. Because I'm super huge on self-improvement. We're huge about it, and yeah, really the whole purpose of it is to understand that we're all messy humans, and not to turn the keys over completely and just say, like, I don't know what I'm doing. You tell me what to do. Obviously, whatever you're doing is working. I'll do whatever you say. And that idea always scared me so much. So I had that little seed, and then being married to Jess, we were engaged at the time. Actually, no, we were just dating at the time.
Yeah.
That's right. And so I knew I had at least one actor, and so I created the Lacey Willowbrook character, and
notice he made me evil. So
Yeah.
that's
yeah, believe it or
that was
not,
inner working.
she's actually a very sweet human, Kyle, I promise.
I believe you. I believe you.
Yeah,
Yeah, weapon to his back.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want to tilt the camera down, but I was so we put together a movie in a month, and basically a month and a week, from no script to this. So I was writing these characters, let's say, and Jess would be able to say, like, oh, okay, well, like, take a look at maybe this person or this person. But then I had this character, Adam, who was like, he was the only one where I almost forgot I was writing to a reverse engineered game plan, because this character started to like just come to life so much. And then I was like legit coming to terms with like this brokenhearted element of, okay, but dude, you like, we're like, we have like half of a script to write, and we're like 2 weeks away from filming. Like, be careful how much you're going to invest in this character. And then when I turned it over to Jess, she just like got super quiet, and I was like waiting for her to tell me, you got a little ambitious maybe with like what you're trying to do with this character. But she actually said, I know the perfect person. And that's how Christian and I met, and became the brothers we are today. So it was insane, because I had written the character, like I wanted this musical element to it, but
Okay.
I did not originally write to drumming or pots and pans. So when Jess explained to me what Christian's range, basically, I got on the phone with him right away after looking at his tapes, and explained the character to him. And when we got to the musical element, he explained that he's very musically gifted, but what he loves to do is not only drum, but find and make an apparatus, use a drum set, and makeshift drum set. And it was like the easiest rewrite I've ever done, that made the script instantly better by like taking out one instrument and replacing it with drums. And that translated there. But I think that was a long way of answering your question.
No, that was great. That was great. You kind of answered one of my other questions, and I wanted to ask this without being weird.
No, you're
But
good.
it's a good looking cast. It's a very good looking cast,
It
and
is.
so obviously we know how these two came to be a part of it. But was that ever part of the plan? Did you ever make adjustments when you realized, hey, this is pretty good looking cast? So I have to you had to make adjustments for that.
You know, it fit in so oddly perfect because again, Jess's history and knowing so many different actors, but like, so it was like the entire movie was molding around our talent and our crew. And because we were under such insane circumstances, like the entire movie was a result of them doing their thing and having their freedom. But it was like, I kind of had this like weird modern day Addams family type of influencer world, and just happens to, I guess, just know some good looking people because it came together. And like I was so in love with this cast, seeing them in person and on set and them come to life and them take the script and make it their own, and then we're getting these magical performances. It was like, it was a heart, everything you see in that movie was, it only worked because it was magic, and that the egos were checked at the door. I was a first-time director. I knew I had written the script quickly, and I knew I was dealing with like very, very talented actors. So we, in a way, in the middle of COVID, collected a house of very deserving, very talented people who haven't necessarily popped off yet, and put us all under one roof, and they were given the freedom to bounce around. And that's sort of the best moments that you see in the movie is just them adding themselves into it and making it their own.
I'm
Very,
laughing.
very cool.
It never crossed my mind that it was a good looking cast. I thought, oh, it is a good looking cast.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, it really has no bearing on the film, I guess. It's just, an added dimension that works well for the film. But I mean, it could have been I guess it could have been a different looking cast and it still worked, but it's just something I happen to notice.
No, you're absolutely right. And yeah, that's funny. I haven't talked with anyone about that, but even like with you, but like I've always thought that, I was just like, what a cast we have here.
Oh, we knew.
Yeah, we did. I guess we
knew.
did on set. We were
like,
all doing it so
man,
much.
we are kick ass.
Yeah.
We are a good looking cast.
Right.
No, but that's good that you know that. That's you know what you have and you work with it. So that's good. And then so Jess, a question for you. I mean, you're the lead. Essentially this plot rests on your shoulders, and you don't necessarily have the aesthetic that fits this kind of crazy individual, but you're able to turn it on throughout. It's not constant, which is good. It's on and off, and it's on and off. You never know which Lacey you're going to get throughout the film. How do you go about channeling that inner crazy throughout the course of the film and making sure that it pops up at the right times and it's not too overbearing, and you still allow Lacey to be likable throughout?
Sure. Well, for one thing, I never thought I was crazy as Lacey. I believe me, and I believe in I believe in my vision, and I believe that I am doing good in an orthodox way. But at no point did the thought enter my mind that I'm crazy. I just believe in what I'm doing, and I'll do what I need to do, whatever it takes. And if my behavior becomes dramatic in other people's eyes, that's their stuff, because I'm just moving through with a purpose, and I'm clear on my purpose. So as an actor, at no point did I think, oh, my character is crazy. My character is crazy. No, I just have a vision, and I will see it through. And the stakes are very, very high for me. And if you see me as crazy, then that's on you.
So all of us.
Yeah, and I think that comes through very well. I think that I agree with you where it's obvious that she thinks she's doing right the entire time, and I think that is what allows her to be so likable throughout. Because I mean, you're seeing this person, and yeah, it's on us that we're understanding or we're feeling that she's crazy, but we're still able to appreciate her because she's constantly doing what she believes is good. So it's a unique dynamic, and it works very well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Of
how
course.
I saw it. I have a vision and I will see it through no matter what. It's worth it. The stakes are high.
Yeah.
And kind of her approach and what she's saying there with feeling so confident in myself and writing that character for her is just she's very conviction based, and that's very much obviously like she's explaining, getting in Lacey's sort of mindset, not even knowing that she was coming off sometimes as crazy as she was. And yeah, it was just very, very fun seeing that side of her and her interpretation of that, because yeah, there were times where like maybe she just knew what she was doing that way. The directing her was so like you didn't want to do too much. You know, we had obviously been talking a lot about the character that way, but sort of that her stillness paired with conviction made her like a total just snake of a villain, you know, in the best of ways, I suppose.
Yeah. This might be a little far-fetched, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Ultron type character in Marvel, where he's like he's the bad guy, but he's doing it because it's right. And
that's it.
Yeah, it's like
you get me. You get me.
I try my best.
On the strings.
Yeah,
there you go. Yep. Exactly. And then Christian, and I'm going to say this, I don't want to discount anything else by saying this, but Christian, you were my favorite part of the film. Adam was my favorite part of the film. And he kind of acts as the person that keeps the film grounded throughout. I mean, he's obviously crazy. He's a little wild, and it's great. But you understand all these things about him. You understand why he is the way he is. What's it like playing this character that's so multidimensional, but you know that you are the person being tasked with keeping the film grounded?
Man, yeah, if you would have asked me if I was up to the task of keeping the film grounded, I would have been like, whoa, no, not me. Zach said it. It was magic. And the thing is, for me, I don't want to discount, myself at all, but it was like a dream come true for me. That character is so much like me because I poured so much of me into him, and because Zach and I had that communication to collaborate in such a way where he was like, this goes with this serves the story, but because I'm freaking crazy and I'm multidimensional, and so it was just, I don't know, it was so fulfilling to just be able to just play around with it from a very close like hair away from myself, okay. Like and if I did do like a little too much of me, Zach would be there to reel me back in. And so I really don't, I just whatever I was doing was working, and it's because I don't know, my life, like I've always been just like, I feel like immature, like a little kid, like a little man just trapped inside a little child trapped inside a man's body. And the music, that sense of creativity and that sense of dreams, that's a kind of what led my character, what Zach and I talked about, is like he is the ambition, he's the dreams, like he's the through line. And so music for me is always something that I wanted to do, growing up. And it's I think it's something that a lot of people kind of can resonate with, as like wanting to do something passionate, like in the arts, or something that doesn't really pay well or isn't secure, and they never really get to follow that dream. And so I kind of just, that's kind of what just kept me going the whole time with the character. Yeah.
And I felt the need. So I had a conversation with my wife the other day. We just got back from vacation. We celebrated her birthday, but we were having a conversation while we were on vacation, trying to figure out like what her favorites of certain things were. She's like, I can't have a favorite. She's like, I don't have a favorite of anything. She's like, I don't have a favorite movie. I don't have a favorite book. Like, I need to have a favorite of something. I need to have a favorite thing in every movie. I need to have a favorite movie. So I had to find something that was my favorite, and I felt it necessary to point that thing out. So I didn't, like, again, I don't want to discount the rest of the things because everything else about this film was so good. It was so incredible. But I just wanted to make a point of that. And
Yeah,
then
and thank, if I could just say thank you too. I mean that
yeah, of course.
your review, made me tear up. I'm tearing up now. And I called Zach afterwards. I was like, man, like someone saw, what we were doing. And
Oh.
yeah, like as an actor out here, it just like, I don't know, to see that, like, it's so like rewarding, it's just so rewarding to know that like this is why I wanted to come out here. This is like why I had such a struggling journey out here as an actor, because like if I could just say, like, Zach and Jess are my guardian angels. Like when Jess called me in that January, like I had already quit auditioning. Like I was like kind of done. I was in a huge depression. It was like 2020. I had just gotten a huge motorcycle accident.
Oh man.
Huge depression. COVID was right there, not, like we were right in the midst of it. And I was like just about to just say like screw it, and just kind of like go into cruise control. And Jess calls me with this film, and I talked to Zach, and everything was just like perfect. The chemistry was just, everything just lined up. And if not for that film, like I don't know if I would be here in LA. So I just want to thank those guys.
No, dude, and
right there.
yeah, love you, man. And it's true, like when we say magic and stuff, because like this movie, I mean, if you think about it, in the middle of COVID, like a month and a week to go from script to making a full production. I mean, this movie was never supposed to see the light of day. It was never supposed to turn into what it did. I mean, we wanted it to, of course, but we were completely, and much like your compliment to Christian, which was the soul's expression, like it, and it was like all of our inner excited kids played the same game, got on the same page, and after we wrapped, we remembered we were acting or making movies, because we were just in that world. And like to your point on Christian, like that, and like when I read your review, and like what meant so much was it was bizarre to kind of create this character that you think with such a short amount of time with no actor in mind, to also play that significant weight to the story. And then see your reaction when I talked with Christian for the very first time was all that it was already answered. It was just magic that way. So we look at that movie and it'll always be incredibly special that way, because there wasn't this hierarchy. Let's say it was a complete expression of a bunch of up and comers who needed their shot. And for what the movie is, like I said, we had a B story fall through, and we made it work, and we were able to kind of make it this kooky ensemble. And even down to your comment about even the way they look, and it's such a little brand of a little culty movie in its own weird way. And being able to have things fall through and still get to where we did with that movie and sell it to Gravitas was only because the characters were so alive. And that was them. So it was very special.
Well, I have to say, I've been fortunate enough to talk to quite a few people about making their films and things like that. And while they always express how happy they are with their film and happy that it was made and the process, they always, a lot of times, they harp on the struggle. We had these time constraints, and well, this fell through and this couldn't happen. I don't think I've ever spoken to an individual or a group of individuals that are so happy with the project. It seems like it was just a dream come true. And that makes the film better when people know that you just enjoyed every minute of working on it, especially together.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah. That's an added level that not everybody gets to see, but it's important.
Absolutely.
So yeah. And then so Zach, you wrote a script that plays with mental illness, and it plays with addiction, and it plays with all these things, and kind of giving yourself up to somebody else. And these are obviously very difficult topics to talk about, and it's likely that you'll ruffle some feathers along the way. And I'm sure that you knew that going in. How do you balance that so you don't go too far, you don't ruffle too many feathers, and you still remain accessible and people are able to appreciate it?
That's a good question. And I feel like a lot of times in my life, almost to default, I'm reverse engineering from something. Like, let's say with what you just said, with this, I couldn't be, let's say, like calculated in that expression. Like, it's really like, if you look at the movie and you take from it that I'm trashing influencers who are trying to do well and good for people and are actually altruistic in their motives and values, I can't even relate to answer that sort of. That's just not what I was doing. I was telling about one. So yeah, in pushing the envelope, I think it would be, or like, let's say, when it comes to like sort of that balance, since I knew where I stood with that, I'm such an advocate for therapy and mental health. For me, it was just, yeah, there's a lot of bad ones too in this field. And also combined with social media, where no matter how bad of a day you're having, you can make X amount of people think you're having the best day of your life, of their lives even. It's just scary to me. So really, I'm an advocate for mental health, and I'm an advocate for thinking for yourself to at least, to a certain extent.
Yeah, I don't think it ever goes too far. Yeah, I don't want you to think that I thought you were saying that these influencers are bad, or any of these things are bad, because I don't at all. Because I think you found a very good balance between ruffling the right amount of feathers and appealing to the people that need to hear and see these things. That also worked very, very well. And then, so where can people see the Willowbrook?
Yeah, right now we sold it to Gravitas Ventures. We're very happy with them. They're a great distributor. So from now, for the next few months, we're on pretty much everywhere transactional video on demand is TVOD, Apple TV, the Google Plays, the YouTubes, the Amazon Primes, anywhere where you can buy the film. And after the new year, we'll take the next stage, and that's deciding where we stream. Very, very cool.
Is it ever going to release to DVD by any chance?
It's on DVD. It's so funny.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's like the coolest thing. I had no idea. I've got like no control of this since. So, but it was like I was like, DVDs, really? And I clicked and I got one. And it's super cool. Actually, just talk for a sec.
Okay. The little kid in me was so excited to hold an actual DVD. It was such a throwback.
My mom got one.
Yeah, I was like,
so
what?
Cool.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, my mom has it. I'm waiting I'll see it when I go back home for the holidays.
Yeah, so funny.
If you can't tell, I have a ton back there. And yeah. I have so many now that I have to be picky about which ones I get, because I won't have any more room for them.
Right.
But this one's on my list.
I appreciate it. I'll send you one. We'll chat.
Oh man, thank you.
Do you alphabetize or genre?
They're alphabetized, but then like series with odd names, I categorize them based on like whatever the original one was. So like. Okay. Like The Hobbit is under L for Lord of the Rings, because it's the prequel too, and like all the Marvel movies are under A for the Avengers. I had to, in my OCD mind, I had to figure out a way to make it work. So
I love that.
Do you put them in line?
Do I like line them up and look at them?
No, in sequential order.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, they go in order. Yeah, they go in timeline order for everything.
Oh, in timeline order, not in
order. Yeah, timeline order. Yeah.
That's
Um,
fun.
so it's become a process now with 2,400 of them, sliding them down every time you get a new one.
Yeah,
Um,
there you go. You're about to have
it
2,401 soon, buddy.
We'd be
Yeah,
proud for the
yeah.
Willowbrook to make your shelf.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hard feelings if it doesn't make it, but yeah, we'll send a copy. But yeah, man, for real, I just want to say, like, you know, when this movie was, like, we were talking about, like, it was never supposed to, let's say, get as big as it did,
Mm,
with that, you know, we weren't blind to what we were making. We weren't these, like, delusional artists who thought, we knew what the movie was, and we knew that it's going to speak to a very specific, almost hyper niche type of audience. And within that, I guess hyper niche expands quite a bit. And to read your review and to text with Christian about it and the other actors, obviously Jess, that's like what we were swinging for. You know, it's like we knew this was not going to be a festival darling review type. It should, but what it was we had heart and we had a vibe, and I'm just so grateful that you responded to it the way that you did, because we know that there's a group of people out there feeling the same about it, and that's all we wanted to do when we were filming.
I'll go
very
on
cool.
record and also say that Adam is my favorite character in the movie too. Obviously not as Lacey, but as an actor, character. And I
Very,
remember
very good. What was that?
I said I remember very distinctly the scene in which I run into the basement to scream at him because he is playing the drums and he's trying to get larger than life and he needs to be contained and he needs to know where he stands at life. And I was so in it as Lacey, and I was so committed to it. And I believed myself completely. And it was later that night as I come back to Jess, and I had a moment where I teared up. I was like, I can't believe I told someone I love so much that he's worthless.
Yeah.
It made me kind of emotional.
And I was like,
Christian
yeah, it's
had a
pretty
moment of
convincing
sit.
too.
I was like, hey, I just need to, can we just step out? Can I just give you a big hug and tell you how much I love you and how worthy you are as a human being? Because after the fact, you know, even though it's my role, it's my job, I'm acting, as a human being, I felt not good about it because I just love him so much. So
That's good to hear.
funny.
That's fun. That's fun to hear. And so what are you guys working on now?
Right now, I guess currently I'm doing a comedy variety for the NFL alumni. They do like a show the weekend of the Super Bowl. So writing comedy variety, and then television and film are just two different businesses for me. Created a comedy that we're shopping on the TV space, and then our second movie, Ava, films in LA. We're hoping for March. I'm just about done with my next polish on it, but we're in pre-production on that. We've got our location, script, everything pretty locked down. And like I will say about that movie, about what's coming up, like everything that the Willowbrook was doing with our short amount of time that way, being able to have this much time to go through everything with the script and get deep into how I want this film, let's say, will be fair game for like reviewers to like objectively be like, this is me as like a filmmaker. Whereas like the Willowbrook, it was not from that at that point. It was just all from like, I just wanted to create something and get these characters alive. And it's fun now going into the second movie because it's like nothing could ever possibly have my heart like that, being able to take some of those things that I could, I guess, bring into this. I'm very excited to fill you in on this next one. I get very, very excited thinking about it.
Very cool.
So yeah,
I look forward to it.
Thank you, man.
Of course. And Jess and Christian, what are you guys working on?
I just came back from filming a show in New York on HBO. I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you what it is yet.
Very cool.
It's It's going to be really cool. That was a great experience. And I'd love to come on and support with Ava.
Yeah.
So his next project,
She does.
I like to, yeah, I
We're
like to
we're,
just,
we're very much
we're a
partners.
good team.
We're partners in the film space for sure.
Cool. That
But,
must be nice.
She also,
It is.
yeah, she also did a Netflix show
Yeah, that should be
out next
coming
year.
out soon, and a show on Peacock, which will be coming out December 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll keep a lookout for it.
thank you.
Of course.
The dream team over there.
No, trying.
I'm currently shooting a short film with a friend of mine that explores grief, two buddies out here in Los Angeles, and we may or may not seek to turn that into a feature. Definitely need some advice on that, Zach, so I'll talk to you about it. And then other than that, just gearing up for the new year, probably going to step it into the next gear and start looking for new projects for next
Very nice.
year. I'm motivated.
Well, best of luck with all of those things. I look forward to all those things.
Thank you.
I will
Kyle.
definitely write reviews on all of them when I get the chance.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Of course. And then my favorite question, because I love to see people's reactions. What are some of your favorite films?
Do you guys want to go?
My all-time favorite movie has always been and will always be The Princess Bride.
Okay.
Nothing trumps it. It's
Fantastic movie.
adventure, it's comedy, it's romance, it's drama, it's revenge, it's everything. I just love it.
It's still something I have not seen.
It's a point of contention in our relationship.
Wow.
Have to see it. I know it, and we're gonna do it soon. But
I-
Christian, what were you saying?
About me, I said a couple of mine, I guess already. But seems like you might be a Lord of the Rings fan, and
Yes.
one of my favorite movies of all time is The Return of the King.
Mm.
So
Very cool.
I even have my ring on right here.
There you go.
Very, very nice.
Big
Oh,
geek, big Marvel fan too, though.
Oh, good. I love it.
For me, I guess the three movies that rotate in my mind the most in the last maybe 5 years has been The Kid Detective,
Know it.
Nightcrawler. I would say, I like The Nice Guys, Drive. I would say those are it's tough to have the favorite. I don't know. I was trying to be a little evasive, but I realize, we're recording and it's going to be pretty obvious that I didn't slip away. But I think those are my three modern day favorites. And my favorite all-time movie. Oh, buddy. I'm sorry. I might have to text you what I think about it. It's not going
That's
to help
okay.
this episode.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah.
So this is something that I've struggled to definitively name one thing, but I've always said the same thing. I've always said Empire Strikes Back is my favorite.
Empire.
And I say it for a few reasons. It's a fantastic film. I love the film. But my dad worked a lot. He worked a lot of nights, so it was tough to find time to spend with him. But when they re-released the originals in theaters before they came out with the prequels, he made it a point to take me to midnight showings of all of them. And so that's like a great memory. I was like, I guess I was 8 years old. So that has always been, I've always told people that's my favorite. It has remained my favorite. But I don't know. Like you said, it's hard to pick one other one. I liked Palm Springs with Andy Samberg recently.
yeah.
Very good.
It's fantastic. I
Modern
really like
Groundhog Day.
Yes, I really liked Don't Worry, Darling
I
this
haven't seen
year.
that
It's on my list.
It's
Oh,
fantastic.
I saw it.
I mean, I tried to ignore all of the drama and the nonsense that took place, behind the scenes.
yet.
And I'm glad I did, because it was so good. And it was almost a perfect film in my opinion.
Oh man, I'm excited to
Yeah.
see it.
Me
And
too.
I don't think that was a popular opinion, but I really enjoyed it. And then there was a film I saw a few years ago. It's called One of the Good Ones. It was an indie film, written and directed by Jesse McKinney. He filmed out in LA and San Diego, and it's about this 20-something-year-old that's in rehab, and he meets this girl and falls in love instantly and kind of throws rehab and everything away to be with her. And it's him struggling to come to terms with what this relationship is, what he wants it to be, what it will eventually become, and struggling with whether or not he's a good person because of all the things that he's done. And it's so good. It's so well done. Sam Jones is in it, which was like a really random addition, but it was a good addition, and he worked very well in the film.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we'll look that up.
Nice.
Yeah, I could go on forever.
Yeah.
This could be a 4-hour long conversation.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
I could talk for hours about what movies
Everything,
I love.
everywhere, all at once.
Everyone keeps saying that. I have not seen it yet.
Another one on
oh,
my
man.
list.
I know.
I'm
I
behind.
haven't seen it.
None of you guys? Oh
No.
man.
Yeah,
I'm glad I'm
that's-
not the
that's
only
the
one.
one.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that hasn't seen it, because I keep saying I haven't seen it and people look at me cross-eyed like I'm a
Oh,
crazy
man.
person.
I've
So
been told by multiple
Yeah.
people that it will be one of my favorite movies.
yeah, I have been told that is a perfect film.
yeah, I have
Yeah,
to.
Yeah.
It probably
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so
It is.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I just need to find time to watch it.
Yeah,
So-
right.
But- Guys, Zach, Jess, Christian, I can't thank you guys enough for sitting down with me. I can't thank you guys enough for making such a fantastic film. And I'm really appreciative that I had the opportunity to watch it and review it. And I'm glad that it meant so much to you guys. And I really look forward to what you guys do next.
Thank you, man. We
Kyle.
appreciate you so
Of
much.
course.
We'll be
We
in
is.
touch here soon.
Thank you for having us on.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys. You have a great day.
We
Take care.
is.
See ya.